big question now is, as far as I know, everything's on it. And we're going to find out once and for all now, after fooling around here for a while or a few hours, will the bike run? So, we'll turn her on. That's always a good sign. Even that surprised me. Even I was honestly wondering if the bloody thing was going to run or not. Yeah, rather. Yeah. I would say that's a bit of a surprise because I was expecting problems and it wasn't going to start or something like that. So, anyway, so far so good. We'll see what happens with this one, and I'll give her a few minutes, let her run and see what happens. But, once again, like I said, I'm a bit surprised because I haven't tried this before, so I didn't know if it was going to work or not. So I was going to get ready to whip her down to the bike shop and let them have a go. So anyway, we'll see what happens. Hi guys, thanks for tuning into the channel. Today I think we'll have a go at adjusting the valves on this 219 Interceptor. So first off we'll remove the side cover. Next up we'll pull the seat. Two 10mm tank bolts to get out. Tank up at the rear and slide it off the rudder first. Just see how much play I've got. Switch it off now. Okay. Now I'll check and see roughly how much play I've got underneath to see what I'm going to do about this. Got the tank balancing here at the moment, so we'll just have a bit of a look underneath. So we've got one wire going into the pump here, main wire. This one here which came off this here, like a breather. Another breather going over to the other side there. This big, like a fuel injector type pump hose on maximum to there, here. One connector wire here. So what are we up to? We're 5. And I think that's about it to remove the tank side of it. I can see why no one else has gone to the trouble to film it because it's such a fiddly job. And even the sausage dog doesn't like it. But anyway, I would. It's okay, like there's 5 plugs to get out. We'll go through the plugs now and I'll just rip this off the tripod. Alright, calm down there, girl. So this one here comes off, the green plug, pretty easy. You got your 2 rubber plugs that come off quite easy, and you got the back one here to the pump. But in between the frame here, you've got this one, the main fuel charger goes down into the injectors. And to get down to that one there, you wouldn't believe how hard it is to get down to that, or get your hands in between it to get to the plug. And I'll go over to the tank in a minute and tilt that and show you how you have to go down into it and it's sort of pressurised. Not much petrol comes out of it, but just the difficulty to be able to get your fingers down. And I wouldn't class my hands as big, not that big, medium. So yeah, it is really a difficult thing to balance that tank on. Here's the main one, easy one here for your green one, that's easy to get rid of. You've only got the one here at the back, it connects straight into that, that's an easy clip. You've got your 2 hoses there that go either side. And here's your main charge one that goes down under high pressure. So that's the one you've got to get hold of and do the press push. But first you've got to have the power in the fingers to be able to press that, because it's a very difficult one to press and you've got to have a bit of finger power. Plus you've got to be able to get your fingers in there into such a tight spot and be able to push them together. So, you know, you'd be surprised how much pressure it takes to press that. But apart from that, that's a bit of a look underneath the tank. I suppose probably the next thing I better do is move that tank off the ground before that sausage dog comes along and scratches that. So I'll just move that out of the way before we move on. Put a bit of a plastic bag over that outlet into the fuel line because I don't want any rubbish going down that hose and into the injectors, so I'll just keep that clean at the moment. Next up, we'll loosen these 3 screws holding the ABS module in place, and that'll give me a little bit of space underneath. Now loosen the top plate, so if I get here and lift her up, you can see it rise. That gives me more room under here. Pull out the cover. You can see it gives you that bit more clearance, gets you about, I don't know, ½ inch or so. Bit extra. I'll just put something to there, chock her up a little and pull her up a bit later. So there you see. Bit of a look at the top, how much it can rise. So it gives you an idea how far you can come up. Just pulled me toolkit and I thought maybe, well, I never thought maybe, I thought it'd be a plug spinner there so I could remove the plug, and apparently there's no plug spinner. Usually with a Royal Enfield you always get a plug spinner. So I had no choice and looked through my stuff, and just by lucky I had one that was very close in a deep socket. It was able to pull the plug, and I noticed straight off that the plug in this one wasn't even sitting there, or it wasn't very well bedded in. It was just sort of sitting there fairly loose, very slack indeed on the plug side anyway. So I'll rip this plug out and see how it looks. It's done 500 kilometres, so be interested to see what the colour's like. Plug hole's now been plugged, and that should keep it safe till I'm back here later on to put the plug back in. And starting at the top left front. Just make sure they go back in the same spot. I've got a little area over here I'm sitting in. So far they all appear to be nicely seated, so no drama there. There we are. Got them all marked. I've got to prise this gasket out of the way. That's just held here. Pretty tight. No, they cut my fingernails too, so that makes it even worse. Another task, it's not as easy as what it looks on other videos. Getting this seal off when it comes to this part here, extremely difficult to get. This part here where it come around, especially this part where it was sealed into this little ridge here. So you have to be, I'd cut my fingernails a couple of days prior to it, but once you get this part here comes off really easy, or it did in this case on this bike. Once I got to this point here, say ½ a centimetre back from here, it was sealed down that well, it was virtually impossible. So I had to just get a little bit of a plastic scraper to sort of push in under here and virtually work from the left around to the right, and then push it, and then come up to this end, and then start pushing it from that end too until it let go a little bit, and then worked in it, and then got my fingers up into this point here, and then pressed here with my fingernails, well, what I've got, and started pushing like this, and then eventually it lifted like that. But on this particular bike, it was extremely tight. Like, unbelievable how tight it was on. There might be some easier way to get it off. If there is, somebody might come up with an idea, but in my case, I had no idea how to get it off. Eventually just keep working on it, but now it's off in one piece. No damage. Thankfully, I'd be ordering a new one. And I can put this aside for the moment and come back and collect it when I'm ready to work in that area. So I'll go and put that in a nice clean bag, clean it up. Best thing about it, no damage done. That would be a bummer if you undid that and ruined that. So you've got to be careful there. You'll need a 14mm hex to remove this cover here on the side. Now I picked this one up at Bunnings and that was around about $14, but if you want to pick one up on eBay, I think you can get them for about $9, and the only problem is eBay one would have took about a week to get here, where Bunnings I could go and pick one up straight away. Now this one does in an anti-clockwise direction, and you can just unscrew it. It's got a seal. What I might do, I'll whip it in a sealed bag here, so I know there's no rubbish getting into it. Rotate the crank anti-clockwise or towards the front wheel, and I think the reason they gave for that, so you don't undo the crank nut and cause any problem in that direction. That's the idea. Another angle of the motor working. On this demo you can see our guide for the top dead center for the left and right rotating. If we bring her up around, we would hold her on the left there. Now, just in case you guys are wondering, this feeler gauge I picked up on eBay for $8 Australian, so it appears to be doing the job. You might be able to see it. There are the two settings I'm using. I'd read a couple of feedbacks from various people who'd bought the gauges and they'd been pretty happy with it, so thought it'd be a good hit. Okay, I think I've got these under control now. Bit of a drag there. I'm back in this one. Probably adjust this one a little bit better, but the exhaust one, so it might be okay. Not that tight, those nuts. supposed to have a bit of a grab feeling when you pull it through, so that seems like it's grabbing a little bit. So on this one, on the intake, you can just feel it now snagging or pulling as I'm bringing it back and forth. So adjusted that one. So as far as adjusting goes, once again, if you would have seen one earlier, it would have been just another screwdriver up in the top section. This nut here, back off that nut. Use your screwdriver to apply a bit of pressure down onto the top part there. Once you feel it snag a bit, and then tighten up with the 10mm the 10mm spanner, and you're right. So there's the drag, and just feel it drag, sort of more like I'd say more like sticky tape on paper, how it grabs like that, so you can feel it come along and grab, just like as if you put a bit of Durex or sticky tape on a bit of paper and then go to pull it off and it sort of snatches. That's the way I'd sort of look at it, how it grabs. So you just feel it sort of as you come through, grab. Might be right, might be wrong, but we'll find out. Now I've cleaned this total area here out pretty well now. Just used my fingernail so I didn't damage any of the metal there, in case I caused any problem there with the leaks later. So I'm ready now to put this motor back together. I ended up buying some Permatex Ultra Black, so that's apparently a pretty good head gasket sealant. So that's the sealant I'm going to use in that area. So it should do a good job. I've used that on C5s before and it works well, so we'll see how that handles the job. Bought some Permatex Ultra Black gasket maker, and I've got the rocker cover here, and I've put the original gasket back in place and I've press fitted it back in tight. I don't know how this will go because it fell out at virtually 95% when I was pulling it out, and it's going to be a tight fit to put it back in. So it's going to be interesting there, so it's not going to be easy to get back in, I'd say. I was thinking I'll put a little bit of this Ultra Black around the half moon section there on the bike itself, and I might put a smear of the gasket sealer around the base of the top part of the cylinder head. We'll see how that goes. This is probably attempt 4 now. This seal now has been smothered or seated with thick grease, and to hold it in place while I try to push it through and get it seated so I can get it back on the bike. So we'll see how this one goes. Okay guys, the thick weight grease to hold the gasket in place seemed to work, and I eventually got it in. Now I did remove the horny to see if that had helped. I don't think that helped much at all as far as pushing it through, because you weren't really pushing this cover through at the bottom section. You were mainly sort of pushing from this top part, bringing it on an angle from here, coming in like from over the injector side. So the main thing, it's in place, but I wouldn't say it was really just a push in and screw down affair, but it appears it's sitting in there all right. Check out the other side. But I wouldn't class it as a picnic, so I thought at one stage I might have to glue it in place, but the heavy grease I had in stock managed to do the job, so so far so good. Just doing reverse now, tightening this 3 screws up that hold the breaker system in, plugs are in, horns back on. Only thing left to go now is the gas tank and seat. Now before I put this tank back on, I'm just thinking, is there an easier way compared to how it was taking it off? So this will be the main problem one here, getting the main power charge from the petrol tank to the fuel injector. So we'll be down in this area here. That's when you've got to connect up first. So I might do a dry run on the tank and just see if I manoeuvre it around in a couple of angles and just see if there's any way it's a bit easier to get it on and off, and it might help a bit later. Okay guys, so I've positioned the tank just past the rubbers, pulled up, it's sitting on a 3v2. Looks a little bit dodgy there at the moment, but it's pretty secure, and that's only for a demonstration purpose so we can have a bit of a look underneath. So if we get down here and have a look, here's the main power or fuel supply here, and as you look inside, about there, you may be able to see it, just there, that's the lead which for the hose which goes to the injectors. So at this level you can see the lead comes right down, or the hose comes right down onto it. So you may be able to go in from this area here and grab that and do a double release with your fingers using this. That'd be the most difficult one to get off. Well, it definitely is the most difficult to get off, there's no risk. The other ones around here, these are only the outlets from the tank. Then you've got this blocker one here. One here, it goes to the pump. One up there, so 4 of them are down here in the bottom section you've got to get at, and this is by far the worst. So that may help some. Yeah, so you could probably go 4v2 on there and move it up a little bit higher if you want to do for a bit more clearance, but it handles a 3v2 alright, so you know, probably 4v2 is okay too. So I think as far as that goes, you could probably come into the front, grab that and disconnect the first one, then come to the back and then grab all 4 at once. I'm out here testing the bike now, and so far so good. The bike appears to be running all right. Doesn't appear to be any oil leaks anywhere on the bike, so that's good. Everything looks nice and dry around the head. The bike seems to be running well. It's very hard to tell under these conditions because one reason, the wind is so strong out here today. It's just a really bad day to ride, so I came out just to see what it was like how the bike performs, and the wind there is that bloody strong. I think I'll head home. You can see I'll see if I can zoom in on those trees up there, but you can see them, they're really zooming around in the breeze. So main thing is the bike's not missing or carrying on or anything like that, so looks like the valve adjustment was a success. Whether or not I tackle it again, it's hard to say. You know, getting the high pressure fuel line off from the tank, you know, it's a bit of a drama. So that's one thing. Number 2, getting that gasket back on the rocket cover. That's a real pain, you could say. I had about 4 attempts at doing that one, and in the end, using that thick grease to help me get out of that fix. So that was a bit of a problem there too. So I suppose if somebody wanted to save they were that inclined, wanted to do it themselves, wanted to save a few dollars, but I don't know whether I'd go back into this process and do it myself or just pay someone to do it. But I suppose if you want to save some money, I only did it just for the thrill, you could say, to see what it was like and could I do it or not. But Whether or not I'd venture back in there again and try it, it's hard to say, but the main thing is the bike's back together, running all right, and you know, there might be somebody that looks at this video when it's put together and they might think there's something they can pick up from it, or they might not. It's hard to say, but either way, it was a bit of an experience for me to have a go at it for something I hadn't tried before, and more importantly I got the bike back together, and I was surprised. It was I was actually surprised a bit that it ran all right, and like I said, I'm out along the road here now testing it, and you know, it seems to be performing really well, so that's the main thing, is I can get out there now and then move on to the other side of it and do the oil and filter change, and then work on putting that sports exhaust system on it and the other couple of items, and go from there. So once again, you know, hopefully somebody might get a bit out of this video, some bit of information, or it might be just worthless information, whatever the case is. And thanks for tuning in and taking a look. Big question now is, as far as I know, everything's on it. We're going to find out once and for all now, after fooling around here for a while, or a few hours, will the bike run? So we'll turn her on. That's always a good sign. Even that surprised me. Even I was honestly wondering if the bloody thing was going to run or not. Yeah, rather. Yeah, I would say that's a bit of a surprise, because I was expecting problems and it wasn't going to start or something like that. So anyway, so far so good. We'll see what happens with this one, and I'll give her a few minutes, let her run and see what happens. But once again, like I said, I'm a bit surprised, because I haven't tried this before, so I didn't know if it was going to work or not. So I was going to get ready to whip her down to the bike shop and let them have a go. So anyway, we'll see what happens.